Good morning, everyone. Hope you all are fine and doing your studies. Today, we are going to start with the new chapter, chapter number 15, Biodiversity and Its Conservation. So, when we will say a complete biodiversity means when it is fulfilled with different types of animals plus plants, right? Or when even human beings, all the natural resources, when they are together and make a good and healthy environment, that is known as a complete and a fulfilled biodiversity. Okay, so let's talk more about this biodiversity and its conservation. So, in nature, million types of living beings, that is plants and animals, are present. So there is a great diversity in the morphology and structures. So thus they are divided. Number of species of plants and animals are present in the nature, and all these things together they are called as biodiversity. So biological diversity or biodiversity refers to the variety and variability among living organisms and the ecological complexes in which they occur. So, biodiversity can be defined as the number of different items and their relative frequencies, right? So, I want to tell you that the term biodiversity was first used by Walter G, the scientist, okay, in and Rosen in the year 1986, and to denoted all the varieties found in plants, animals, microorganisms, and their varieties. Okay, so biodiversity is a blanket for the natural world and its biological wealth. Started specifically, biodiversity refers to the number of varieties and variabilities of all the life forms, microorganisms, plants, and animals, and also the ecological complexes as they inhabit it. Is it clear? Now, let us talk about the biodiversity at global level. Okay, so the scientists survey find and assume that the availability of approximately between 5 to 10 lakh species of biotic creature on this very planet, okay, and out of which approximately 2 lakh species only we will identify till today, right? That means we can imagine 3 lakh is still left, right? So the creature of this planet. So let us, what we have examined, let's see. So the group wise number of the species are being undeterminated. So see here, so number of green plants and fungi, there may be yes 3 lakh, right? Number of insect species, that is 8 lakh. Number of amphibian species 23,000. Number of species of reptiles, that is 6,300. So in this way we have identified and we had studied about the different types of species. Now this is all about, we were talking about the global level. Now let us talk about the biodiversity in India. So India is one of the 12 mega biodiversity countries in the world. India's biological wealth is represented by 47,000 plants and 81,000 animals species, that representing about 7% of the world flora and 6.5% world of fauna. So you can see here GOIMDFE, that is 2000, means on the basis of 2000, okay, on the year 2000. Okay, so let's see. So plant biodiversity, okay, so the number of species group wise is like fungi 23,000. Angiosperms, what is angiosperms? Which having closed seed, right? So they are 15,000. Bryophytes, that is 2,564. Algae divided into 2,500. Pteridophytes, that is 1,000. Bacteria 850. Gymnosperm, just like angiosperm is closed seed, where in the same way gymnosperm is a open seed, means it we can find on the yes, on the stem of the plant also, okay, that is 64. Now this is about plant biodiversity. Yes, now let us see about animal biodiversity. So there are a number of animal species group wise as follows. Now Orthopoda, so they are 57,525. Now lower groups, okay, yes, so they are 9,214. Molluscus है ना, so they are 5,000. Birds 1,228. So in this way you can see here in this chart it is given everything, so this we have examined. Okay, so the data states insects and yes, predominant. Now let us talk about, this is all about the animals and plants biodiversity. Now let us talk about the types of biodiversity. So there are following three types of biodiversity in the world. What are these? So that is genetic diversity, now species diversity, and last is ecosystem diversities. Now so let's see what is genetic diversity. So diversity within species due to diversity in the genetic makeup is referred to as genetic diversity. This constitute distinct population of the same species or genetic variation within population, or we can say varieties within the species. Okay, so due to genetic diversity many distinct populations got their origin from of one species. So due to due to genetic differences, all the individual of the same species became different from one another, and also it give rises to the subspecies, now varieties, the races, the strains, the morphotypes and ecotypes. So also they showing one kind of the variation, that is races of human beings. So when we will talk about human beings, so the races may be divided into such categories like Nagoroids, right, Mangaloid and Astroloid, etc. Okay, so in this way humans also divided. Now humans also having races. Now each species contain a large number of genetic information which are coded in its genus, so the number of gene is also more. So let's see the example like bacteriophage, it contains about 100 genes, mycoplasma that contain 450 to 700 genes, E. coli contain about 400 genes, human beings that is homo sapiens they contain 35,000 to 45,000 genes. So you can see here everything is given. Now the genetic diversity among the population, races or varieties of organism enable them to adopt itself in environment and to respond the natural selection. So on the basis of all these categories we can easily do the natural selection. Now thus, the number of the genetic variation of diversity on the basis of speciation, that is origin and evaluation of new species. Okay, so it plays a key role to maintain of diversity both to the species level and on the community level. Clear? So this is all about the genetic diversity. Now let us see what is species diversity. So, the diversity between the member of different species of genes, that is called species diversity, means between the different species of genes. So, it refers to the variety of species within a region, that such diversity could be measured on the basis of number of species in the region. Like for example we having brinjal, potato, tomato, right? So when we will talk about, but all these different at the species level, similarly like tiger, snow leopard, lion, they belongs to the same genus, that is panther, but having the different at the species level. Understood? Now the number of species per unit area or species richness in the area measure the species diversity. So, the species richness increases along with the increase in the area of the site. So, it is because of the more availability of the resources, right? Yes. So, this is about species. Now, let us see one example of the species, how they divided. So, the following three sample areas showing the species diversity as follows. Like the first we having, the first sample area containing 3 species of birds. 2 species are represented by 1 word and each third species is represented by 4 words. Now, in the same way, the second sample area also contains 3 species of the bird. Hence, Each species is represented by two birds. The same area comprises unrelated species, and therefore it is considered most diverse. Now, let us talk about ecosystem diversity. In an ecosystem, there are many exit different landforms, so each of which supports different and specific vegetation. So, it is also related to the variety of habitats, that is terrestrial as well as aquatic. So, biotic communities and ecological process in the biosphere as well as the diversity within the ecosystem is termed as the habitat, the niches, the tropical levels and various ecological process. Just you can see in this picture, this is called the three group of the biodiversity, that is alpha, beta and gamma. Now I will tell you what is alpha, beta and gamma. You can see this diversity is divided into many parts, alpha, beta and gamma. Now let us see what is it. So ecosystem and community diversity has been divided into three categories: alpha, beta and gamma diversity. Now in alpha diversity, so alpha diversity means diversity within community, means it refers to the number of species, that is diversity of an organism in a given community, okay, or habitat. It depends on the species richness, means the species diversity and evenness, like the equability, like any changes in the habitat or community that result in the changes in species, that is called alpha diversity. Now beta diversity, so what is beta diversity? That is diversity between community, okay, that is middle. So the diversity, the biodiversity which appears in a range of community due to replacement of species with the change of community habitat due to presence of different microhabitat, niches, difference of environment condition, that is called beta biodiversity. Clear? Now what is gamma? So gamma diversity means it refers to the diversity of the habitat over the total geographical area or landscapes, right? Means it relate the full total geographical area, that is known as gamma biodiversity. Is it clear? Alpha, beta and gamma, we having three example, right? So this is all about the various types of biodiversity. Now in next we will learn more. Thank you.